My brothers, my sisters, how are you? Welcome. Thank you for taking the time out today to go through basically something that's been a part of my lifestyle, a part of my life period for the past 7 years. So today we're talking about rhythm reset. I've been practicing rhythm reset for the past 7 years, and I can't understate this statement enough, but the program has completely changed my life, and in many ways has saved me. Because without it, the industry has nothing that replicates it, and I couldn't get the same results. You follow? And I know what the industry has to offer, and I know the capabilities of said industry because I've been in it. I'm a 10-year massage vet. I've touched over 10,000 clients. I've also been an ex-personal trainer, 2 rounds actually with NASM. And with NASM, I was doing a lot of corrective exercising and fitness nutrition. And last but not least, Reiki Master Teacher. I've been doing that for about 11 years. And so, I really love working with energy actually. And so, again, I'm bringing, quite a bit of professional knowledge with me. And so I know exactly what I have when I say, hey, this is really powerful. And so, again, at the end of this presentation, I really want you guys to just kick back, first of all. Relax. Know that, even the questions that you do have will eventually be answered if you stick around. And again, explaining what rhythm reset is kind of a difficult endeavor if you're not actually in it. A good brunt of what we're doing is practice, is experience, is embodiment. And so, we can talk about things, but again, keep that in mind with a grain of salt that, if you do leave with questions, know that the elephant of what you're trying to understand is a little bit bigger than what you think it is. And again, the elephant in the room, right? How is this going to affect you as a professional? And so again, this video, I'm really making it for the professional. If you happen to be a layman and you stumble upon this and you're still gung-ho about it, then you consider it a change of career. Because only professional people get excited about this, and I'm going to speak as a professional, and so if the terms maybe go over your head, that's, I'm not trying to be snooty, I'm just trying to speak to a specific niche. And so after, we dial in what rhythm reset is, we're definitely going to be talking about the next steps, because I do have ulterior motives here, right? Like, I'm trying to guide you into a space where I want you. I'm just being completely honest. And so, my end goal, and one of the reasons why I'm reaching out is because I need other solid people on my team. I want other people who believe in rhythm reset as much as I do, and who also want to turn around and help, possibly save other people. I mean, they're going to do the work. They're going to be their own salvationer. But you're going to plant that seed, and that's powerful. And so again, I just want to be bold. I want to be boldly honest that, hey, I could be wrong. Things could need to be adjusted a little bit, especially with, what I'm doing with myself. It might have worked for me, but maybe it doesn't work for somebody else, right? But my hunch is that it will, because everybody has a human body, and I'm operating on the mechanisms of the meta-narrative that is the human body. So it's like, if I can do it, somebody else can. But, there's always that small chance that I could be wrong. Okay, so let's dive right into this here, okay? So essentially, rhythm reset is consisting of 4 different things. You got your canon, your positional breathing, self-care, and, of course, the coup de grace, tongue breath. And through those 4 things, you're going to accomplish 2 major things along the journey. There's going to be others, but I just wanted to note 2 major things, okay? So Rhythm reset is really a lifestyle change, okay? And the moment you choose to get onto the path, that's what I call your beta genome. And that's when you start plugging away at your beta genome, all right? And that path is called the awakening path, and I call that the awakening of the soma. And at the end of that path, okay, when all tension has been absolved from the body, and operational levels are returned to normality, that's what I call your sigma genome. That's at that primal point where you go from living in iron to living in freedom. And so that whole process culminating with your sigma genome is what I call awakening the soma. And so after you've cleansed the body of trauma, tension, now you get into a state of authentic growth, and this is the key, right, of why rhythm reset is so powerful, is because authentic growth nowadays in our current system isn't present. Nobody's teaching that. Nobody's teaching you how to get authentic growth. And so again, as we continue down this journey, right, if this excites you, listen to your heart, because this is rhythm reset speaking to you, right? And so here we are. Let's jump right into this. I really want to talk about the canon here. Well, not really. It's kind of boring. Or canonology. Okay, so it's their how-tos, code of conduct, terms and definitions. Nothing exciting there. Okay, but here's with the caveats. Okay, this is a hugely sacred journey. Right? This is a hugely sacred journey. And I don't want to be the one to spoil the ending for people. Things are going to happen on the body that you're going to notice, and because you have the body, somebody else is probably going to go through the same thing, right? But the sentiment around it needs to be your own. And you need to be very careful about what you say and how you say it, especially if you've been doing this for 10 years. You don't want to turn around to somebody who's green and just, completely let the cat out of the bag, because that's part of the process. That's part of the awakening of the soma, is to, truly awaken and rekindle that relationship with yourself. And if you rob that of somebody else, how dare you? And so, to me, this is extremely sacred. And yeah, there is a heavy code of conduct, with rhythm reset, as far as being a professional, what you can and can't do. But that's just one of them. And so here, let's explore one of the terms and definitions that I'm kind of working with nowadays. And so this is kind of a little mind map that I'm working on here, but essentially, if we just take a look at the word soma in the dictionary, it's going to give you the Greek definition, which kind of means physical body, right? But to me, the soma is the home of all our multidimensional experiences, right? And so if you didn't get the memo yet, you are a multidimensional, right? An interdimensional time traveler, a spiritual being, right? Who exists and resides in many different places at once. And so soma to me is that quintessential place where you become the physical, but not quite too physical, right? And so to me, it's the breath. It's that moment of, sparking of the heartbeat, like however you want to coin it, in that space, when it's not too physical, not too mental, not too emotional, everything's kind of mixing. That's like the home of your experiential journey as you. Like, you cannot deny that you have these places, right? And so again, soma is the home, but it's also connected in a way that when one thing shifts, everything shifts. Okay, and so again, here we are traveling into higher dimensions, right? Trying to vibe and reach, higher places of our higher self to fully embody a new earth. You think that as we shift in one area, everything else is going to be stagnant? Absolutely not. And so again, when you do rhythm reset, which is actually a physical exercise, right? But it's also a mental exercise. You have to stay focused and literally just do the one thing every time, right? And that's going to train your mind. Emotionally, you're going to be clearing out, cellular debris as things get integrated and whatnot. Okay, spiritually, you're going to be noticing different attunements, you know what I'm saying, to where your higher self naturally wants your perception to be. So again, you shift one thing, everything starts to shift. Okay, and so that's just a little bit about the canon, terms and definitions. I hope that kind of resonates with you guys. Let's move to positional breathing. This is kind of a fun one. Essentially, positional prime is the full Monty here. Okay, this is the codified routine of rehab. Okay, so if you were going to be like, hey, are you doing rhythm reset? And people are like, yeah, and then the next question is, oh, are you doing like an a la carte, right? Or are you doing positional prime? And so most people, I would suggest for them to do positional prime, but I'm also going to show them, right, as professionals, that hey, you can do it in other ways, right? You want to get up, move a little, dance a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It's all about feeling into where you're at, but literally this is your base, and this is what you're going to come home to, okay? But it is soma specific, okay, and there are disqualifiers, and so original skin is needed in order to really run rhythm reset without any complications, okay, and so the further away you deviate from original skin, it kind of gets dicey, okay, just depending on what it is that you've had. And so again, there is a screening process, right, to even starting the program, okay, so don't get your hopes up. I try to tell everybody that, like, I can't sign off on teaching everybody because not everybody's ready to be taught physically, and that's just the cold hard truth. Okay, so you pass the screening process, great, now we're in, and I'm going to put you right into positional prime. And as a matter of fact, if we look here, your body's just naturally going to do that for you. Okay, and this kind of looks just like the evolution of a child, right? And essentially when I started, I spent a lot of time supine, right? Supine on the spine. So you're going to be on your back a lot, right? Because that's where the body is most founded, and it's looking for foundation. And when you start tongue breath, and when you start tongue breathing, it's going to put you in that foundation. And so it's tongue breathing really dictates this space here, okay? Because unconsciously there's ciphers that are being built, right, that have to be built in this order in order to, right, produce dynamic movement. And so to me, positional prime is really just the organic way the body naturally wants to grow once you start turning on the mechanisms of tongue breathing. Okay, so again, positional prime is the specific patterning of positional breathing, right, which is shown here, plus tongue breathing. And so let's talk about this real quick. I mentioned your sigma genome, okay, and that's actually your line of 100%. That's your line of normality, and it's literally the expelling of all trauma by way of rhythm reset, right, or the moment of normalization. And so yes, all of this down here, you have trauma, you have tension in the body, and in my opinion, people are operating at about 30% right now. And so once you get on the journey and you start to increase, you're going to reach, again, that point, right, from your beta genome, which is essentially when you get on the journey, right, to when you expel all of that trauma, right, when you hit your sigma genome. In that process, you're going to go through this whole thing again until you're at the line of 100%, right, normality, your sigma genome, and you've expelled the trauma, but then you literally are going to create a new version of yourself. You're going to crack out of that old shell, and that's what's so beautiful about rhythm reset. And again, static and dynamic postures, positions, that's just different posturing you can do with positional breathing. So again, a little bit of a kind of a fun expose here. One of my favorite things to talk about, positional breathing. Let's move to self-care. We'll try to keep this short, but this is really the brunt of where I get a lot of my wisdom, and insofar as how I relate to people with rhythm reset. Uh, the forbidden technique essentially was created outside in. It was created in the cauldron of all of my clients bitching that I need help and I need relief, and so I started to alter what I was doing, and eventually stumbled upon the forbidden technique, which does really great at unlocking certain parts of the body when applied correctly, and essentially every spot on the body can either be well, it can be locked, but the locking, as you see, it can only come from within. So essentially the forbidden technique is only about unlocking. You can only give space, right? Relieve that tension. But the caveat here is that you can do it too much, right? And as we'll see, the body is highly sequential, and you can't just jump into the middle of the system to affect it. And so, yeah, let's jump into that real quick. The breath has two parts, inhale and an exhale, right? And so, again, the forbidden technique was kind of showing me that, hey, I'm affecting this, but I can't do this. Like, what she needs is really to beef up her, her left side bicep area or whatever. And, oh my God, I can't do that. And so, again, the forbidden technique gave me a lot of this wisdom, but it also showed me where I was lacking, and essentially that's what rhythm reset fills in, because the locking pattern is the exhale, but it is also the draw in, the tightening in, right? And you can only do that. You can only tighten this coil from the inside out, right? And that's what rhythm reset is, and essentially what the forbidden technique does is come in mid-system, and it does very well, right? Because it's part of the rhythm reset canonology, because it is the mirror image, right? The professional's perspective of rhythm reset, right? Not the user's perspective. Yeah, and so these lock and unlock patterns are really powerful to know as a professional, and that's kind of like one thing that the forbidden technique kind of pushed me into, was like, how do I fill this gap in? Because I know if I fill this gap in, then I can start to teach how to the full Monty, essentially. And so, yeah, let's touch on this here real quick before we move on. The watcher is essentially the codified self-care routine, right? As you're progressing here, you're watching. You are the watcher, right? And you're seeing, okay, I'm working a certain area here, then I'll unlock the next best muscle here. You know what I'm saying? And instead of jumping into like mid-system and doing something like down here or here, to where you're not going to see it unless you're there, right? So that's what the watcher is that we're gonna as a professional, I'm gonna show you how to walk yourself through, right? And use the forbidden technique to alleviate pressure, and also as damage control, right? And so you're gonna learn all the global breath patterns, that the unlock and lock patterns here, to essentially relieve yourself of that tension. If you need to go in mid-system and just perform like a migraine damage control, and you're not there yet, and you probably won't be there for a couple weeks or a couple months, then absolutely, right? That's what the watcher is. And so, yeah, let's dive a little deep here, because the point that I am trying to make here might be fleshed out here. And so again, rhythm reset has the knowledge of both the lock and unlock patterns, yet the forbidden technique can only affect the unlocking pattern with any efficacy, okay? And so again, that's the outside-in perspective. And so the only thing that we can really do is focus on tight muscles or constriction. Yes, can we help innervate or activate certain muscle areas? Yes, but again, you're still in a codependent state with your client. And so, for the most part, the forbidden technique, when we're using the forbidden technique, right, so you're only going to do the unlock pattern. And so again, this brings into a code of conduct. And so hopefully let's bring this all into focus here is that, the outside in unlocking of the body is 100% preemptive. And it may cause harm. Okay? And so let's just look at that for 2 seconds, because it's the same reason why outside in growth tactics do not work, right? Because mid-system change is not root change. So let's look at that here, okay? And this is a huge tenet of rhythm reset and the canonology, but the body does have a root that has a start. And if you're going in mid-system and you're like, hey, let's focus on, building up the knee if you're a personal trainer, or let's focus on, tight shoulders if you're a massage therapist, that's still mid-system change, okay? And the reason why it's preemptive is because it's presupposed that you're already doing rhythm reset and filling in here. But if you're not, then you're just jumping right into the middle of the system, which is why it's preemptive. And it could cause harm, right, if you unlock too much in the wrong areas for too long. Absolutely, you can destabilize joints further down the line. Even if you are doing rhythm reset, you do too much in the forward here, you could create joint stability, absolutely. And so you cannot unlock parts of a cipher in other areas, right, than from the root, again, presupposing that the root is already on, okay? But it's not for most people. But you take the program and I'm going to show you how to turn it on, because the root is the only thing that's going to come up from underneath, and as it integrates, it's going to strip all of the tension, okay? Which is 80% of what people are experiencing is just hypertension. It's going to strip that tension, and then it's going to integrate it into the cipher. And once it's in the cipher, it's just working as it should, because it's working with other things, right? And so the inside out method is the only way to alchemize trauma and grow, right? So again, as this comes up here, you're going to wash away all that trauma. But rhythm reset, again, is the only way that you can grow, right? Because I can alchemize trauma for clients all day, right? For the forbidden technique, I can unlock their whole body systematically, right? But I don't have that growth tactic. And then a DPT would come over and be like, oh, I can grow that person. I can give them authentic growth. And I'm like, no, you can't, because you're still coming into here mid-system. You want to focus here on the knee, posterior sling. You're still not affecting the root. Even if you want to go deep to, psoas and try to innervate psoas, okay, great, good luck. But you're still not at the root, right? And so that's why it's a code of conduct. You can't go around just unlocking things. People aren't ready for it. And it could be dangerous. And so here we are again. Let's go back to 1 asterisk. And this is, of any practitioner. Okay? And so this is mainly focused towards massage therapists, because I can hear you guys now. Well, no, it's not all therapy. Okay, great. But it's just massage therapy that I'm talking here with this here. But then of any practitioner, the best that you can do is mid-system change. And I'll put money on that. You're not at the root yet, right? Because you're not teaching rhythm reset, essentially, because this is it. And so again, there's no way to do something for somebody that has to be done by them, i.e. working out. And even if you're a personal trainer and you're like, oh, I can help them grow, they're still doing the work for themselves, but they're not being taught the right thing. Right? And so again, there are barriers to professionalism. I can only take you so far, and that's a beautiful thing, because that creates space and sovereignty. Because essentially, after you give rhythm reset to somebody, they're going to take it. Once they have their aha moment, they really don't need you anymore. All the questions that they have will be answered, okay? And the only reason that you would need to prolong coaching with somebody for 6 to 12 months is if they just want some life coaching or just, I don't know, some exercise coaching. I don't know. I mean, it's you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, because again, the barriers to professionalism is that I don't want you, hanging all over me for answers for the next best thing, because literally I'm going to give you the full Monty. I'm going to give you the next best thing, right? What's yours is yours, and what's mine is mine. Go off. You know what I'm saying? Get out of my face. You can be me now, you know? You'll have all the information and all of the body knowledge just by, awakening your own soma. Because there are light codes hardwired within the soma, right? But it's your responsibility to pull them out, right? And again, that's just another metaphor for, got to get to the root. Got to get to the root, okay? So again, the system is an outside-in system. The movement industry in and of itself is an outside-in system, and that's dangerous. And essentially, I'm calling into question our professional code of conduct, because that's what we're doing. We're creating mid-system change, and then, which actually perpetuates or exacerbates compensations. Might actually cause more harm than good. Whether you're from DPTs to LMTs, it doesn't matter. That's mid-system change. So, Rhythm Reset is definitely allowing me the space to question that and engage with that personally, but, questioning and engaging with you as well. So let's dive out of that rabbit hole for 2 seconds here, and let's kind of wrap up here. Again, I have a lot of qualms with the system, but essentially what you're doing is you're front loading when you're working out, when you're not doing Rhythm Reset, it's pretty dangerous, because you're going to unwind and front load all that tension on the outside layers, right? And it's actually going to pull apart the inside layers. You're going to destabilize your root. That's what the system wants. It wants you to front load, destabilize your root, and then you have all of these huge issues in here because your fascial matrix isn't tight, right? And then all the blue stuff here is your stuff in the inside the fascial matrix, bones, organs, stuff like that, right? Yes, are there things that can go deeper and affect here, but what can actually affect here? Oh, well, it's Rhythm Reset, because that's literally the only thing. And if you're not teaching that, then you're not doing anything else. You're still doing, like, it might be here, but it's not this, right? And trust me, once you're on the path, you're going to be like, oh my God, right? All this arrogance, all this pretense, he's absolutely right. And it's not pretense, it's humility. I'm speaking truth, and I have to speak this truth into reality. And it's going to hurt a lot of people. It really is, right? And so again, bam, outside in, that's the model, right? No wonder we can't rehab people. But the inside out model, right? Rhythm Reset, even tissue growth, okay? So hopefully, that kind of speaks to you on that here. I know that's a lot, but that's a good brunt of the meat and potatoes of self-care. And last but not least, let's we are rounding third, guys. Thank you for staying with me. Again, root teachings only, okay? You do not want to spoil the end, and so that's the only thing we do is talk about the root. And part of that root teaching is tension prime, right? Which teaches that your tongue, which is the full actualization of the primal point, has a shape. And, when that shape is fully online and engaged and working properly, and everything else bends to that shape, and you're going to have this huge shift, and things are going to start connecting the dots, and things are going to, you're going to have your aha moment. But that all stems from the transference of tension prime into the rest of the body. But buyer beware, because it is a pretty intense routine. I'm not going to lie. If you looked at me after I kind of coached you to it the first couple of times, and you're like, okay, that's intense. Are you sure it's supposed to feel like that? And I'm probably going to look at you and be like, you know what, it's probably in the wheelhouse, because it's new. It's something that you haven't experienced before, right? It's again, it's very sacred, very, very beautiful awakening, okay? Trust me, you're just going to have to trust the butterflies in your stomach that, if you want to proceed forward, you definitely should, because that's, again, Rhythm Reset and all of the higher dimensional beings who are attached to this, ready to work with you. And if you don't believe in that stuff, then it's the quantum field drawing you into your highest version, right? And again, not to get all spiritual, but this is a highly spiritual routine. And if you're not ready to shift on multiple levels, might have to take some time to think about it. Again, techniques, it's just tips and tricks. That's all it is, right? And so this is actually a very short section just because of this here, right? Truth is so self-evident, and the more I talk about it, the more you're just going to get it. Because when I tell you what tongue breathing is, you're going to know what tongue breathing is. And that's the difference between me and what the industry is touting and selling. Is that essentially, if somebody told you what they were doing, it wouldn't save you. You could put it into practice, but it wouldn't save you, right? It's not truth. It's a half-truth. Because you would have more questions at the end of the day. But this here is the moment we start talking about it. Like, I have nothing to sell. Like, all of my, my marketing tools and everything fall short just because I'm just basically giving it away, right? So again, just like the breath is light, fragile, and consistent, so is my, lack of words on tongue breathing. You're just gonna have to stick around. And lastly, thank you for, again, sticking around. Video number 2 is oriented towards dynamic business strategies. In regards to Rhythm Reset, how Rhythm Reset can, shape and shift the industry and some of the prognoses, business-wise for the future. And also, we will dive into how exactly, right? Because that's a big part of this, right? How does this actually do all of this? How Rhythm Reset alleviates common chronic pain pathologies. And essentially, I'm just going to talk about things that I've dealt with that has either been alleviated, or I can just, run the timeline forward and be like, okay, this is absolutely alleviating, and it's probably going to be gone soon. And so, yeah, that's the second video. Again, my whole goal here is to get you online, to teach you Rhythm Reset, to get you jazzed up about it, and to, again, turn around and help you build an organic business structure around Rhythm Reset so you can be your own CEO, helping other people move and groove, helping other people clean ancestral karma, clean their ancestral baggage, etc. So it's a very powerful thing, and I'm just being transparent 100% of the way because, hey, like, I'm a straight guy. I'm a straightforward kind of guy. Let's just, do business honest. Let's just come correct. So if you're interested, all right, reach out and I'll send you the second video. And then after that, hey, it's time to go. If you still got questions after the second video, it's time to sign up. It's time to start the coaching. It's time to change your life. All right. So again, brothers, much love. Sisters, much love. Thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you guys on the other side, okay?